Did you have a busy week like me? Well, then you might have missed some Star Wars Rebels related news bites. Plus, included in this video, I give my thoughts on the latest Rebels TV spot that some people are calling an episode trailer. But if you're new here, I'm Mike, and you're watching Force Within TV, a channel dedicated to Star Wars Rebels. So first up, the Force Cast podcast interviewed Taylor Gray, and I have a couple highlights here for you. So Taylor mentioned several times that Ezra's main concern in Season 4 is the people of Lothal. So this tells me that Lothal will not just be part of Season 4, but it's going to be a main part of Season 4, and the finale is actually going to take place. I know I've had some discussions in the comments where people have proposed that the mission on Lothal may actually end at mid-season, but it certainly seems like it's going to take up most of Season 4. Taylor also mentioned on the Forcecast podcast that he has seen a couple episodes of the series that Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm, the Lucasfilm group, created what sounds like a tribute video for the entire series. He mentioned how the cast were all in tears after watching the video, so wouldn't it be awesome to see this video maybe in the Season 4 Blu-ray, right? I'm really hoping so. Moving on to our second story, Dave Filoni confirmed that Emperor Palpatine would not be making an appearance in Star Wars Rebels Season 4. This is a big deal because we know that in Season 2, Palpatine had personal plans. That is, we were told by Minister Tula that Palpatine had personal plans for Lothal. If you'd like to check out a video explaining that situation, I'll have it linked up top. This news really is too bad, especially after last week where Ian McDiarmid was mentioning he'd love to reprise his role as the Emperor on screen or in an animation series. So hopefully in the next animation series we will see him. This next topic is more of a reminder than news per se, but I wanted to remind you all about the release of the Legends of Luke Skywalker novel at the end of the month. Only because in our latest community video we discussed the possibility of Luke and Ezra meeting, and I later thought about the fact that they could be meeting in this very book. I'm really hoping to see some sort of small connection between Ezra and Luke in that book, and I'm really hoping it's what I Am a Cabbage suggested, and that is that Ezra and Luke have met at some point, and Ezra tried to tell Luke that he was on the wrong path and that Luke didn't listen to him. He tried to rebuild the Jedi Order as it was before and failed. I think that would be absolutely amazing. And then in episode 8, Luke actually comes to terms with what Ezra told him and he wants to start the Jedi anew. But moving on here, if you've been really busy, you might have missed the fact that the second round of Forces of Destiny episodes are now up on the Disney YouTube channel. Out of the episodes I viewed, highlights include Ketsu becoming part of the rebellion and Ahsoka's training session, which has tons of similar scenes to the Season 2 finale where Ahsoka and Vader battle it out. So there's lots of crossover between the two. It also has the dojo, the training dojo that is seen in Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels. So tons of connections there. Very cool to see. But moving on to our last piece of news here, which you probably have seen, and that is the Rebels Season 4 TV spot. If you haven't seen that, my buddy Official Boss has it on his channel. The first thing I noticed with this TV spot is the tone. And Thrawn really sets that tone, describing what I believe is the weapon Sabine created and just how devastating it is. We are truly dealing with a terrible weapon, which on screen I believe will look more devastating than the Death Star. But I know my buddy Turkland TV and others would argue that the Death Star is far more destructive than this weapon that Sabine has created. But it would seem we are going to see people turn to ash by this weapon. This is very personal and tragic, whereas you couldn't really see anyone dying during the Death Star attacks. The tone is being set by this little TV spot, not only for Heroes of Mandalore, but also for this entire season. And Dave Filoni and the Lucasfilm group seem to be really going dark here, as has been promised. Moving on, also in this little TV spot here, we get Ezra's great line. This is how a rebellion starts. I think this is referring directly to the rebellion on Mandalore and could hint at a long drawn out fight there. It also makes me think that Ezra is very wrapped up in the war and is therefore at risk of succumbing to the dark side, or if not, at least losing his way as the Jedi of the Clone Wars did. But I do think he will learn his lesson early in the season on Mandalore and when he teams up with Saw and his extremists. Finally, just at the time of writing this, I was thinking, why isn't Sabine doing more of the talking in this preview or trailer? Why is it Ezra? Since this is Sabine's homeworld and her fight. Just a thought. And, another thing that occurred to me is also, why does Sabine leave Mandalore? Why does she rejoin the Ghost crew? Is it because she's disgraced or defeated? Is she forced to leave? Or does she simply want to go back with her family? So question of the day is just that. Why do you think Sabine is going to leave Mandalore, join the Greater Rebellion, and fight with the Ghost crew? Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Also, guys, I wanted to say a big sorry to I Am Cabbage, who is actually I Am a Cabbage. Sorry about screwing up your username, buddy, a couple times there. Still love it, even if it is I Am a Cabbage. And also, I want to say a big thank you to Steven Stanton. He sent me this great shirt here, AP5. What does it say? A Rebels musical. Fantastic shirt. He also sent me a bunch of images autographed. He sent me an Admiral Raddus, right? Admiral Raddus figurine with his signature there. So cool. All of that because I was I was just following him on Twitter. He does that. So head on over and follow him on Twitter. All right, guys. Also, I just wanted to say that there's going to be some changes happening on the channel here. I'm going to be changing the way I do my thumbnails. So at some point, I'm going to start putting Force Within TV as well as my logo. Probably just down the left-hand side. If you follow Star Wars Coffee, he does a similar thing. And I'm thinking about changing from Force Within TV to forcewithin.net so I can promote my website more. Just giving you guys lots of notice on that. I don't think it's going to happen this week or even next, but just giving you sort of a heads up as to some things that could happen with the channel in the near future here. But guys, if you haven't already, please go check out Steven Stanton on Twitter. Follow him. Well worth it. If you didn't watch that video I mentioned him in, it was a couple News Bites videos ago. I actually got to talk to the guy for like 45 minutes on the phone, and then he sent me all this cool stuff. So definitely worth going over there and following him on Twitter. And of course, if you haven't checked out Force Within TV, please do so. If you like what you see, subscribe. And as always, may the Force be with you.